Alright, here it is. The entrance to Flight of Passage. Notorious for being one of the only rides that big people will have trouble with, but I don't think I'm too big. No, I don't think I'm too big. So I'm here at Animal Kingdom for the first time. I'm gonna do some fat guy ride testing. But there is a test seat out here just in case you want to look at it. I'm pretty sure I can get in there. Just a quick note on the restraint on the Flight of Passage up front here. The little back part that comes up and holds you into place on the ride wasn't there. And that's going to be your biggest issue with getting on and off of this thing. That front part that you slide your chest up into, that's really the least of your worries. It's that back part that's going to be able to decide, in my opinion, if you can fit or if you can't. So if that's not there, I wouldn't trust this ride seat. But I got a couple tips for you as to how to get in there. But hopefully by the time you get there, get to ride this ride, that thing is fixed so you can have a good idea as to whether or not you're going to fit before you have to wait 2 or 3 hours to try to ride this thing.
And will experience sudden drops and acrobatic aerial maneuvers. Those with a fear of heights or are prone to motion sickness should bypass this experience. Thank you.
How many here? Two. You're gonna head to lane number.
I tried the seat up front. I think I'm going to be able to fit. I know this one is notorious for big people being a little bit tough on them, but I seem to fit right into the harness there, so I'm hoping I'm going to be okay. We are on the call it the after hours thing, so we walked right up, so it's not like I had to wait 3 hours like people usually do. Don't think I can film on the ride, like I said, because you got to put your chest in like a harness. You got to use your hands to hang on. So I'll film what I can, pre-show, whatever. Let's hope I can fly. Wish me luck. This was me. I tipped the scales at 415 pounds. Then, while planning a vacation to Universal Studios for my family, I realized that I was not going to fit on the rides. Worried that my size and limitations would ruin my family's vacation, I decided to start making some changes. This is me now. I'm still a big guy, but I've lost 94 pounds. And I'm still working on it. But while on my weight loss journey, I have rediscovered my childhood love of theme parks. I've also discovered that there are many others like me that would like to enjoy the parks but share the same concerns about fitting onto the rides that I do. Well, I have done the hard work for you. I have risked embarrassment and the dreaded walk of shame to fat guy test every single ride in the park, so you'll know exactly which rides you can and can't fit on. A2.
5 and 6 right here in A2.
Okay, all systems are ready. Stand by.
Standing by.
Pick a number.
3, 4. You're not gonna do that.
Prepare pressure doors.
Systems ready.
Okay, sealed genetic matching room. Okay, Dr. Stevens, they're ready.
Can everyone see me? Great. Welcome to the Avatar program.
Now before we get too deep into the pre-show video here, I want to show you my tips for fitting into the seat. Now as you sit down, what's going to happen is these restraints are going to come up in these 3 locations that I've circled, in the small of your back and behind each of your calves. Now the first one is going to come up straight like this. It's going to rotate upward as you sit down and get into the front chest harness, push into your back, while these other 2 will rotate from the side and go back in behind your legs as so. I'm going to switch over to a side view so I can show you how these things are going to lock into place and give you a couple tips for how I think is going to be your best bet of fitting in here. Now what you're going to want to do is, if you have big feet like I do, I wear a size 12 shoe, and I was wearing hiking shoes at the time, so they were a little bigger than my normal size 12, is you're going to angle your foot upward as I've drawn here. And what that's going to do is it's going to make your calf sit a little bit forward, so it gives that flap behind your leg a little bit more room to fold inward. Especially if you're a big person, you probably have bigger calves too, so that's going to become an issue. And to achieve this, what you're going to want to do is lift your knees and your thighs upward and push them as far as you can against the top of the restraint. Now, I learned these couple tips that I'm sharing here because I got to ride the thing twice. We were on an after-hours pass, so we kind of got to walk on. We didn't have to wait the full 2 or 3 hours like someone would normally have to wait. So the first time we got in here, I'm going to circle the back area here because that's where the back restraint's going to come up. When it came up on me the first time, she had to, I mean the ride attendant, had to push it and force it in place. She had to give it a good shove just to get it to lock in there. And as I was sitting, I was able to adjust myself, so I had a good feel as for how I needed to sit the next time I rode this ride, so it would lock into place without needing the extra restraint, the extra push to get in there. So these tips I'm giving you, I developed from sitting there after getting locked in the first time. And what I did is I lifted my knees and my calves and my feet like I showed you on the leg restraints, and that helped me get into place there. But what you're also going to want to do, because this is going to be your biggest issue, is you're going to want to sit as far in front of that chest harness as you can and arch your back inward. By sitting up straight and arching your back as inward as possible, what it's going to do is give that back restraint as much room as possible to push up into the thinnest part of your body, which, if you're arching your back properly, is going to be that concave spot just above your waistline and just below where your back meets your middle, as you can see from the picture that I've drawn for you here. And I did this the second time I went through. I arched my back inward, I pulled my knees up, pulled my feet up, and it helped me to push my calves forward, and everything locked right into place, and I didn't need the assistance the second time through. So I think that is going to be your best bet at fitting onto this ride.
Soon, you're going to have a chance to undertake an amazing Navi rite of passage, flying on the back of this powerful animal called an ikron, or as we call it, a banshee. The way you're going to do this is by being matched to something called an avatar. And I'm here to help you guys get ready. But first, we have to scan you for Pandoran microparasites. Alright everyone, stay on your number and move your arms a bit. Okay, start scan.
Uh-oh.
You've all got them.
Oh, man.
But
I know you
don't
guys are
worry.
gross.
They're very common around these parts. Let's start the decon.
Initiating GMR decon.
Stand still over your number. You're not going to feel a thing. You're doing great. Almost done here.
You're all clear.
Great. Now let's go over how all this works. Like I said before, you're going to be matched to these things called avatars, which look a lot like the Navi. They're created by blending human DNA and Navi DNA. Once we match you to an avatar, thanks to a special link chair, your mind will be able to control that avatar. Using avatars to fly this way was all figured out by my boss, Dr. Jackie Ogden. She leads our science team, which is part of the Pandora Conservation Initiative, and we're here in the Valley of Moara studying banshees and their environment. Over a generation ago, this enormous company called the RDA created a lot of damage to the area through their bad mining practices and conflicts with the Navi. Just like on Earth, it can take decades for ecosystems to recover. One way to understand what's going on with an ecosystem is to study what are called Keystone Species. These are animals like tigers, jaguars, seals. The banshee is one of these important animals. Dr. Ogden is the foremost expert on studying the ikron and has spent years researching them. Unfortunately, banshees live high in rookeries and humans can't get anywhere near them without becoming their lunch. But the Navi and avatars can. In fact, the Navi have been riding on the backs of banshees since their earliest history. Thanks to science, avatars can ride on banshees too. That's why you're linking to an avatar. It was Dr. Ogden who restarted the Avatar program. It's because of her that you're able to go through this rite of passage today. Pandora is a breathtaking natural world. I cannot wait for you guys to see it for yourselves. Okay, to get you flying on a Banshee, we need to find each of you an avatar. Let's prep the genetic sampling.
I'm on it.
Okay, first we need to find the compatible match of your genetic material with the genetic material of one of the avatar bodies that we already have. Once we do that, you'll be able to link to that avatar and fly. Help us out and move around a bit. Almost. Yes, got him. Now, let's find you your avatar matches. All right, you've all been matched with avatars. Looks like they're ready for you in the next room. When the door opens, please go inside, all the way in, and stand over the same number that you're standing over now. And I'll see you in there.
Alright, travelers, right this way for me. Palisade, welcome. I'm going to hand you a pair of glasses. You don't need to put these on until we're in the next room. You can find your number on the floor for me, okay? Don't put these on until we're in the next room. See number 9, wherever you're at. You're going to start the second row for me. We're going to be behind.
Hi.
Great, you've all made it. It's important that you can all see me, so move a little if you can't. Before we send you into the link chamber, let's watch this piece by Dr. Ogden, who runs the program.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Jackie Ogden from the Pandora Conservation Initiative. You're about to experience a ceremony that's very special to the Na'vi, flying on the back of an Ikran, or as we call it, a Banshee. To the Na'vi, connecting to an Ikran and flying on its back is an incredibly important rite of passage they call Ikni Maya. With permission from the Na'vi and in partnership with Alpha Centauri Expeditions, we can now bring this amazing experience to you. The way you'll be able to fly is by linking to an avatar that's already on the back of an Ikran. Let's see how this works.
We establish a link using powerful psionic amplification equipment. A human driver is connected to an avatar, which could be physically hundreds of kilometers away. When you follow our technician into the link chamber, you'll see a series of 16 link chairs. Please go to the number that matches the number you're standing on now. First, stow your gear in the storage containers on the back wall. This should include all bags, cameras, and other items, including cell phones. It's important to push them all the way into the bin. Then get onto the chair as you would a bike. Straddle the seat, step forward, and sit down. Slide your hips forward until you are against the chest pad, and then move your feet all the way forward. Wait until you're seated before you put on your flight visors. Hold on to the hand grips as shown. It's important to hold on to the hand grips at all times. After you're seated, back and leg restraints will be firmly engaged. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, always remain seated and supervise your children.
Once the link takes place, you'll be connected to your avatar and sitting on the back of an Ikran. It'll feel like you're really there. Moments later, you'll begin your flight. A Na'vi guide will lead you out. You'll experience the breathtaking beauty of Pandora, but you might also face some of its greatest challenges. Some of this flight might be intense, but trust your guide and be brave. As the Na'vi say during this important rite of passage, Sivak Ho, rise to the challenge. Good luck.
All right, you ready? Let's get you into the link chamber.
Alright, travelers, you're going to be restrained at heights above the ground and the floor will move. So if you're prone to motion sickness, afraid of heights, or just unable to remain seated for that full 4.5 minutes and would like to opt out, you can come talk to me in this next room, okay? Seats 1 through 8, you guys are going to follow me. At 9 through 16, you follow behind. Remember your number because there's about to be a quiz.
Attention drivers, stow your gear on the back wall and then get onto the link chair the way we showed you in the video. Then put on your flight visors. For your safety, throughout this entire experience, remain seated. Lean forward, holding onto the hand grips, and
Keep going.
supervise your children.
Para su seguridad, durante toda esta experiencia deberán permanecer sentados.